it's Angela with another What's Up Wednesday. I'm excited to bring you some tips on how to use the app Microsoft Lens. Microsoft Lens is a free application that you can use on your phone or any handheld device. The app captures notes, information that might be in a whiteboard or in a session from a slide deck, signs, memos, anything with a lot of text. It simply uses your camera functions to capture and store your scans in either your OneDrive and your Google Drive, or you can even embed them in like a class notebook or even inside a document. Let's look at a few ways that I find it useful as an educator and within the classroom. My first example is using it to scan documents. Now, I've used this a ton of times in my personal life, but let's talk about it in our professional environment. Let's say that we are at a conference, a workshop, a meeting, and they hand out paper copies of, what we're learning that day at the session. There's no digital copy. Well, I want to go back and use this information later. And I don't want to do that paper trail of what folder did I put it in? Oh, let me open up a million of them just to see, did I store it in my PD folder or, is it still trapped in my book bag? So I'm going to use it for later or even share it. I'm going to use Lens for this. So I'm going to open up Lens. So here I am on my phone and I have the Lens app right there. If you'll notice that it's that typical Microsoft icon feel to it. Click on Lens, open it up. On my phone, I get to choose what kind of document it is across the bottom. So there's whiteboard, there's business card, there's a photo. So I get to choose all of those. But because this is a document, that's where I'm going to go with it. We go to document. Okay. So if you probably noticed that every time that I move it, some orange borders show up. Well, it's capturing the edges of that document. So I'm just going to pull it back. You won't probably see this, but I'm going to pull it back until I get the whole document. Got to be a little patient with it because remember, it wants to find edges. So I scanned it. Now, this is what it turns out to be. I'm going to confirm it because I want to see what it looks like. Beautiful. So it's going to straighten up. It's going to take care of all your edges. So even if I can go in with Lens and if I just want this or if I just want this bottom part, it's going to allow me to grab just that part because it tries to find the borders of big chunks on a page, especially with a border like this that it has. So I feel good about this one. There are a couple of features down here that you can try out, like there's the crop and the filter, and then there are things that you can ink on top of your Microsoft Lens. That's a great feature that Microsoft has is across the board is that ability to ink. I have the ability to add text to it. So if there was something I needed to remember, I could quickly add a text to it. So let me get back here. All right, so I'm here and I'm going to hit done because I'm ready. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is the name of the title. You're not going to remember this. I'm not going to remember this. How many of us have to click on things to see if that is the item we need? So I'm going to change this. And because I like it to be in folders, I'm going to change it into the naming convention that I use in my folder so that I can remember where it is for later. So now I have this here. I have the ability I have a number of places that I can store this. Gallery is that's hard on my phone, right? That's stored locally. And then I have the ability to throw it in a OneNote or OneDrive. I even have the ability to embed it into a Word document or a PowerPoint. I'm going to choose OneDrive and I'm going to hit save. Once I hit save, it's going to show me all my scans that I have done so far. But I know that it's going to be in my OneDrive. My little cloud is up there so that I can reference this later. My second example is capturing text from maybe a lot of text that has been recorded on brainstorm session. We do this a lot. Our team does this a lot, the collaborative work. When we're all in the same state, in the same room, we usually break out that good old fashioned big, that big sticky note paper and the markers, and we just get to writing and marking our thoughts on that paper. Well, of course, now we have someone, Lindsay, who's always taking notes for us on a shared document. So we have her as well and then she shares that with us. But let's say that I want the original, because if you think about your students, they might not be able to write everything down. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to capture this again, if you'll notice. Okay, so when you see that it recognizes the break in the text. So I'm going to pull up here and I am going to grab a copy of it. Now I grabbed a copy of it, and if you see right here, it does not have that edge right there. It cut that off. So I'm going to cancel, and I'm going to do this again. I'm going to try to get everything. All right, let's see. Yep, see? Now, if you'll notice, it's kind of askew, right? So I can pull in those edges, those boundaries, and when I hit confirm, it's gonna write itself for me automatically. So I don't have to be directly in front of a whiteboard, or I don't have to be directly in front of the slideshow, or get up and go and take a picture of the slide in the middle of a session. It's gonna write itself for me. Once again, hit done. Rename it here. I'm going to put it in my OneDrive, and then I'm going to hit save. So think about what our students, when they take notes, do they write everything down that you wrote on the whiteboard? A lot of times we don't write everything down. So if our students didn't write it down, a particular problem or a particular idea, they can have this image or PDF to study, so that they have the original and they get everything, not just the little bits that they wrote down. My last example is capturing pages in a hard copy of text, whether it be your textbook or a novel. But I'm going to show you this because I want to show you this as it has a tool in it that's got an accessibility feature within the Microsoft Lens application. So I opened the app and I took a picture, scanned my picture. I'm not going to save it this time. I'm going to use that accessibility feature. This time I'm going to use what's called the Immersive Reader feature within this app. Think about all those informational texts that are above our students' reading levels. We could help them with this with these read alouds. My students now have a go-to tool for their reading aloud modifications. Microsoft has Immersive Reader embedded in a number of their tools. So across the Microsoft suite, my students can use the other Immersive Reader functions, like changing the font, things like that. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to hit this read. It's going to render it for me. As soon as it's finished, then I get a new copy with a different font. Pretty much it's going to let me do a number of things. If you'll notice, it's more spaced out. It's a little bigger. I can change all of that, but this is what I wanted to show you. So I'm going to click on did because I want to start there, and I'm going to hit play.
Did she know his dad had moved, or would she have been surprised as well? Even if they hadn't been able to find Ben's dad, he and his mom could have gone into the museum together.
All right. So it reads it aloud to me. If I click on this icon here, it allows me to change from female to male and then speed up the voice. That's not all in this Immersive Reader functionality inside Lens. So if you'll notice, like I have these yellowish words and I have a green word over here that really can't see, but it's there. I also, if you notice, it's like ADV, ADJ. There's a function in Immersive Reader that allows you to do certain things with the text to meet those modifications. For example, I could increase the text. I could increase the spacing. I have 3 fonts that I can choose for, and these are great for students with those struggling reading abilities. I have those filters. Remember those filters? So my students had a number of overlays that they could put on top of their whatever we were reading to help them with better understanding, better reading. So if I click on that blue, now I have it in a blue text. It's so much easier to read. It's not that blinding white. But I'm going to change it back to sepia. And I want to show you some magic. So this little icon here, it's got some magic behind it. So I'm going to click on that. I have the ability to break these words into syllables, but I also have the ability to find the parts of speech within the text. So if we're studying adjectives and adverbs, I'll let my students go ahead and turn that on and show the labels. So they'll know anything of that gold color and anything of that green color. They'll know green is adjectives, gold is adverbs, but I can also change the colors too if it's not quite working with them. So I have that ability. So if you look at it again, you'll see there's an adverb, adverb, adverb. So if I had these, if I had this for my students, they would have an easier success rate of finding those words within the text that we are reading when we are studying that part of speech. I'm going to go back to the 3 lines up at the top. I'm going to choose the book this time because I have some functionalities here that can help with modifications. Sometimes a lot of text can be overwhelming. So I can do 1-line focus, 3-line focus, or multiple line focus. Some of my students probably needed small chunks at a time. I have the picture dictionary turned on because my students, if they were trying to relate and visualize a word, they can click on the word, they can listen to the word, and then there's some type of interpretation, pictorial interpretation for them. So together, pulling that together. So it gives them that visual aid. Going back to that book, I also have a translate tool. So it allows my students who their native language is not English to listen to it within their native language. Pretty cool, right? So you have an assignment now. You got to go out there and go to your app store, find Microsoft Lens, find the application. It's free with tons of potential. Use it, like I said, with your personal life, use it with your professional life, or just show your students how to use this dynamic tool in their education. They're going to love you for this. Have fun with your deep dive into Microsoft Lens, and we'll see you later.